next story in the book is called Grandpa Comes to Live. It's the 12th story in my book, Tell Me a Story, and it starts on page 33. When I was 15, my grandfather Jacob came to live with us. Our new apartment was in Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn, not very far from where we used to live in Brighton Beach. The apartment was called a 3.5-room apartment, and the half room was mine. It was the first time I had my own room. Until that time, I had slept in the living room or in my parents' bedroom. I was in heaven, and I felt very swanky. My room was called a half room because it did not have a closet and was intended to be used as a dining room. It was a small room, about 10 by 10, and had a door into the kitchen and another into the hall. There was a closet in the hall outside the room that I could use, and the room had a window, and it was mine. The kitchen was large enough to hold a table and chairs, so the half room was not needed for everyday eating. The kitchen in my room looked out on a U-shaped air shaft that the kitchen and half rooms in the other apartments also faced. I loved to sit in the window and watch the lives of the people living outside my room. I could hear and see what neighbors were doing, cooking, and talking about. One day my mother said, "Grandpa's coming to live with us. He will have your room and you will sleep in the living room." I loved my grandpa, but I was sad and angry to have to give up my room. I finally had a space of my own, and now I had to go back to my old poor way of living. "How come he's coming here?" I asked. Mama said, "The place he is living in is not so good for him anymore, and he would like to come here and live with us." I loved my grandpa, and if he wanted to be with us, then I was willing to give up my room. Grandpa came that day, and I cleaned out my things for him. I moved my stuff onto a shelf in the closet that we were to share, and I tried to make the room feel like it was his. We visited and talked and played cards after dinner, and I was happy he was there. That night I slept in the living room, and Grandpa slept in the half room. I was back on my old couch, which when I was little, I used to pretend was an Eskimo sled that I slept in. I was bundled up to protect myself from the freezing ice and snow while the sled dogs pulled me. The next morning I got up to go to school, and there was Grandpa with his satchel going out the door. "Where are you going, Grandpa?" "Why are you going away?" I cried. My mother came into the room and watched us. Grandpa said, "I couldn't sleep all night. The trolley car is riding in the street and making so much noise." "What trolley car?" I asked. "I don't see a trolley car." Mama said, "Grandpa can hear the trolley car in the front of the house, and it won't let him sleep, so he wants to go back to his place." I couldn't believe it. We lived on the 5th floor in the rear of the apartment building. If I listened very, very hard, once in a while I could hear the street noise and the trolley coming and going. "Grandpa, don't go!" Grandpa said he couldn't sleep and he needed to go home to take a nap. That was the last time Grandpa stayed with us. Oh well.